Hello, hello. You're now tuned in to SOS, and I'm your host, Tamina, and this is the official first episode of SOS, also known as Self Love and Other Stories. It's going to be a very cozy podcast, okay? Very chill because I'm a chill girl. So it's going to be very chill vibes, and we're going to be talking about everything self love and other stories, just like the name. So for the first episode, this episode is all about new year, new me. New year, new era. Just newness. I feel like people are kind of tired of hearing the whole new year, new me thing. It's like I'm not a constant self-improvement project. Like, can I just start the new year, and just relax? And I feel you. The thing is, I get excited every single month because I see a chance of reinvention. I love newness. I love a chance to restart. I love a chance to rebrand. Obviously, you can rebrand any day. We have free will. You can decide on a random Tuesday in April, you want to change your life. And that's fine. That's in fact amazing. For me, I like the feeling of newness. I like when we're transiting from one year to another, from one month to another. It's just a chance for me to always just like look back on the month, look back on the year, and then decide like, who do I want to be? Who do I want to be in this new year? What version of me do I want to be in this new year? I'm usually there planning my complete rebrand. And this year is of course, no difference. First of all, Happy New Year. I hope you had an amazing holiday. I hope you had happy holidays. I hope it was everything. I hope you relaxed. I hope you got a head start on 2025 for those who are getting a head start. For those who weren't and they were just chilling like me, I hope you had good rest. I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready for the new year, okay? So this first episode is going to be called New Year, New Me, New Era, New Plan. I don't know if I'm going to name it that officially, but that is a vibe, okay? It's all about newness. It's all about the feeling of starting over, the feeling of rebranding, the feeling of a new era, the feeling of a new you. And usually how I plan for the new year is the same old thing. I do a vision board, one on my phone, one on my laptop, because I like to look at it every day. I do a little plan for Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. And I was thinking, how can we shake things up this year? I want to shake things up a little bit. I feel like I've been doing the same thing every single year, and it's time for some spice. It's time to shake it up. So I was thinking at around 3 a.m. the other night, and I came up with something, and I said, I have to tell you guys. I simply have to tell you guys because I want us to do it together. Okay. So it's two things. One is the concept of a silent date, and the second one is a challenge. And I know you're already rolling your eyes. Because last year we had so many challenges. 75-day challenge, 75 hard, 75 soft, 75 medium. And I know you're probably tired of challenges, but the thing is, I feel like challenges are really good for discipline and consistency. And I always feel like discipline and consistency will forever beat talent. So if you have talent and you have discipline and consistency, you see how you're a little bit unstoppable. Okay, so the concept of a silent date and the concept of a challenge, and this challenge, I'm going to be calling it 100 Days of Exposure. So let's start with the first one, and this is the concept of a silent date. So when you're planning for the new year, I feel like sometimes there's so much noise from the outside world. I don't know if it's just me. Maybe it's because I live in Nairobi. I can tell you Nairobi has so much noise. From social media to the outside, I feel like there's always this like pressure. Whenever you enter Nairobi, you feel this like stress, you feel this pressure. So I feel like it would be really nice to just sit in silence. And by silence, please, I don't mean play a podcast in the back. Not even this podcast. Switch me off, please. Thank you. Don't play music in the back. It's not time for music. Like silence, like good old silence, not 21st century silence where it's like you have like some binaural beats and frequencies playing in the background. No, silence. Because I feel like sometimes we don't hear ourselves and we don't hear what our body and our soul is telling us because we always have some noise. There's always some noise, a podcast, music. So sit in silence. It could be anywhere, at home, in nature, anywhere there's just silence. And you're going to carry a journal with you or even just like, not your phone, actually not your phone, carry a piece of paper. Good old piece of paper. And ask yourself two questions. We're going to ask ourselves two questions. The first one is, who am I? And this question is very important because you should answer it away from any like accolades, any accomplishments, or any relationships, any link to your family. So it's not who am I? I'm a daughter, I'm a mom. No. You are, but not for this question, okay? And you're not going to answer like, I'm a lawyer, I'm an engineer, I'm a content creator. No. It's like, who are you away from your accomplishments, your job, your family, your relationships? Who are you away from all of that? And that's when it gets a little bit tough, I can't lie, because you have to think of yourself as a human away from linking yourself to anything, right? And the second one is, if there were no barriers, if money wasn't a problem, if you had no one to impress, if there were no societal expectations, who would you be and what would you do? And I feel like humans, naturally, we get scared to answer this question, especially when you say like, if money wasn't a problem, because anytime you say that's like, but money is a problem. And it's like, for 1 minute, go into your imagination. The reason we have an imagination is because your imagination is not reality. Like, you're allowed to dream, you're allowed to imagine things, you're allowed to imagine alternate universes. That's where creativity comes from, right? You're allowed to go into your mind and create a world where there are no barriers, there's no economic barriers, there's no one to impress. You're allowed to do that, and that's why you can have so much peace and sanctity in your mind. You feel me? So don't panic, just imagine a world where there's no barriers, okay? Money isn't a problem, there's no one to impress, no societal expectations. What would you do and who would you be? That's a tough one, right? But yeah, write that down. That's going to really dictate the challenge that we're going to do in like the next 100 days of your year. So now once you do that, last year there were a couple of methods that came up in terms of imagining the dream version of you, or feeling like the dream version of you is more within reach. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so the two of those, the first one I did, I'll tell you, is I went on Pinterest. I had a folder, a main folder, and I called it The Life of Tamina. And then under that folder, I had subfolders called like her car, her jobs, her money, the brands she works with, her apartment. And then with each folder, I would save different photos and videos under there so that I could feel like the dream version of me has so many different aspects, and I have a visual of all the different aspects. The other method was ChatGPT, going on to ChatGPT, a favorite AI, and typing in the aspects of the dream version of yourself, and then asking ChatGPT to write a day in the life of this person, a month in the life of this person, and even steps to become this person, right? And I feel like with this, we were just trying to feel like the dream versions of ourselves were within reach, like the dream version of ourselves can be real. And that's amazing. So last year I made a video and it was all about the law of exposure. And what the law of exposure states is that whatever you expose yourself to becomes your thoughts, then your beliefs, and then your reality. And this video was especially very profound when I was thinking about how to plan for 2025, because I was like, we do actually need to expose ourselves to what the dream version of us would be exposed to. And what the law of exposure states is that this applies to everything: your environment, the books you read, the music you listen to, the movies you watch, the people you hang out with, your environment, right? So it's like the more you expose yourself to these things, those become your thoughts, then your beliefs, then your reality. So I thought, why don't we do 100 days of exposure? Why don't we do 100 days of exposing ourselves to the dream version of us, or what the dream version of us would be exposed to? And let me give you an example. So let's say I want to start speaking I want to do a lot of public speaking. Maybe I want to host events in 2025. Obviously, first of all, I'm going to have to speak in front of a large audience. I need to know how to articulate myself, right? I need to practice my speaking, and I need to keep watching people who speak very eloquently, follow people who speak eloquently, maybe follow people who host these events, right? So based on that, you could have the goal of, oh, I want to host events, I want to be a public speaker, and leave it at that and keep seeing it on your vision board every day and see it on your Pinterest board every day. But let's take it a step further, okay? So let's say every day, without fail, I watch one video on YouTube on either how to articulate yourself or someone else's speech and take notes on that, right? Or every other day, I practice in front of the mirror, speaking in front of a large group of people. Not only that, maybe I even join a community where people are practicing public speaking. Maybe I even take a short course on public speaking. So this way, you have your goal, you have the visual of it on your Pinterest, on your ChatGPT, on your vision board, but then you're also exposing yourself to the dream version of yourself, right? You're practicing how to articulate yourself. You're practicing how to speak. You're exposing yourself to people who speak articulately. You're exposing yourself to what you want to become. And that way, it feels less out of reach and it feels more attainable. Okay, I don't know if, yeah, I feel like I'm excited just talking about it because I was like, I have to do this. So it's the same thing for any goal you have, right? You've decided who you want to be and you've decided what you want to be, right? And you have all those aspects. You're visualizing it. You have your Pinterest board, your vision board, your ChatGPT. You're visualizing it. Now we are taking steps further for 100 days to expose yourself to the dream version of you, to expose yourself to what the dream version of you would be exposed to. So whatever it is, just sit down and think, okay, for example, I want to travel. Do you have a passport? Do you have a yellow fever shot? Probably need that. What country are you going to? Maybe you can learn a bit of their language. You know, you just like start exposing yourself to the things the dream version of yourself would be exposed to. For example, maybe the dream version of you wants to go to another country for like 2 months, let's say France. Join Duolingo. Start learning French. Start watching French movies, okay? Start going on YouTube and following some people from France. Go on Instagram, follow some people from France. See how their days in their lives are. See where they visit, you know. You can even go on YouTube and do those like videos where you drive around the city. Drive around France like virtually. And so that's what I mean by exposing yourself to the future version of you before you become the future version of you. So for example, if you expose yourself to that, even when you arrive in France, maybe you kind of know some of the language, you kind of know some of the lingo, maybe from some of the people you followed, you can even make a friend, you know what I mean? Like it starts to feel more attainable, more in reach, other than just having that goal and visualizing it and then chilling. You see what I mean? So yeah, so that's the challenge. So for 100 days of the year, you will expose yourself to the dream version of you, or you will expose yourself to things the dream version of you would be exposed to. And I feel like that's going to really like alter our brain chemistry a little bit. I'm very excited. I'm even very excited to just discover ways I could expose myself. And another disclaimer is make sure this is a very accessible way for you to expose yourself. Don't start going broke. Please don't start going broke. Like make sure it's very accessible, make sure it's very attainable. I'll give you an example. For example, if I have an idea of how the future version of me dresses and I can't afford it because I always say I can't wait for the day I'll be able to afford my true style. Guys, the day I'll be able to afford my true fashion sense, wow, it's going to be amazing. So if I can't afford my true fashion sense, I can go thrifting. And when I go thrifting, I go very intentionally looking like for very good quality pieces. I just don't buy everything because it's 10 shillings. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So it's like you go thrifting very intentionally looking for pieces that the dream version of you would wear. That's what I mean by making it very accessible. Don't start going broke. Don't start doing things completely out of your reach and then you're stressed and then you have a loan from this person and you've borrowed this person money. No, please. Let's do it very accessibly, very within reach. We have a lot of resources on the internet, YouTube, books. Wow, my camera cut me off and said it's enough, okay? It's enough. But that's it. So the two concepts, silent date, 100 days of exposure. That's how I'm going to be planning my year. We can do the 100 days of exposure together. Feel very free. I'll be updating on Instagram, on TikTok. You can follow me. I'll put all my handles. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me on the very first episode of SOS, of Self-Love and Other Stories. Can't believe I'm starting this. I'm very excited. We're going to have so many conversations. I'm so excited. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for reaching here. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.